How do you feel when you switch to Geico and save on your car insurance? It's like going to work on one Thursday morning and thinking to yourself, just one more day until Friday. But then somebody in the elevator says, Happy Friday! Then you check your phone quickly and discover today is actually Friday. So yes, Happy Friday, random stranger in the elevator. Happy Friday indeed. Yep, switching and saving with Geico feels just like that. Get more with Geico.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Streamed and Screened, an entertainment podcast about movies and TV from Lee Enterprises. I'm Terry Lipschutz, managing editor of the National Newsroom at Lee, and co-host of the program with Bruce Miller, editor of the Sioux City Journal, a longtime entertainment reporter. And we're talking the biggest of big movies today, right? We're talking Moana 2, Wicked.
No. I have, because I've been watching TV so that you don't have to, of the new screeners that I have, a bunch of little films that I think are going to get some attention at the Oscars. These are all ones that for your consideration. We can call that this. This is your for your consideration episode of Stream to Screen. They are kind of coming to the forefront now. Everybody knows that Wicked's in the mix, and Wicked will be nominated for Best Picture more than likely. I don't know that it'll win, but there are other ones that are now starting to kind of surface, and you go, here's where they're looking at the awards attention. And all those months where we had God knows what, they're gone. I'll be surprised if Dune gets more than a handful of like technical nominations this next year. And it was, they thought, Dune 1, Best Picture nomination. Dune 2, they'll probably give it to him. Really? Do you even remember Dune 2? So that's the thing that's kind of out of sight, out of mind. And I think right now, these new ones that are kind of slipping in, we talked, I think, a while back about The Substance, which was Demi Moore's film where she becomes younger. And that's one of the kind that you see a little attention to, and you go, she could sneak in there as a Best Actress nominee. Another one, Pamela Anderson for The Last Showgirl, and she's not bad in it. It's about a woman in Las Vegas who is about to find that she's unemployed because her big kind of, feathers show that she's in is closing. Nobody wants to go to those kind of burlesque shows anymore. And she's been working at it for 30-some years. And so they announce one night, and we're going to be closing in 2 weeks. You'll all be done. He goes, well, what am I going to do? I don't know how to do anything else but just parade up and down in a showgirl outfit. And so she has to try and regroup. And she's not bad. And she's like one of those ones where you go, yeah, I think she could be in the mix. Then I watched Hard Truths, which Marianne Jean-Baptiste, she was in a number of films years ago, but she's back now. And she plays this just awful woman. She's just mean and nasty, and everybody, you try to say something nice to her and she just snips at you. Yeah, we work with these kind of people, but that's the kind of character that comes through. And she's just nasty from beginning to end, and it does leave an impression. So she could be a big Best Actress nominee this next year. We had the women from Emilia Perez, which was a big Cannes Film Festival. The three women who are in it or shared the Best Actress prize. Selena Gomez is one of the three. And they could be good. That's on Netflix now. So you can see that and see how good this really is. Because these are like actresses that you don't normally consider. It's not the Nicole Kidman run-of-the-mill, Julianne Moore, throw somebody out there that we've seen vying for the awards. These are ones who, this could be the first time. And I would not doubt that we could see 4 or 5, all 5 of the Best Actress nominees be newcomers.
Wow, that's crazy. That Showgirls style movie that you mentioned with Pamela Anderson, just the concept of it reminds me a little bit of The Wrestler with Mickey Rourke.
Right.
And there's a movie which kind of, it got limited release. It didn't get, but it was critically acclaimed. Mickey Rourke got an Oscar nomination. And it was such a really good kind of gritty movie. Here's this guy who's, he's been through a few marriages and daughter doesn't really talk to him. And it's like, but this is all he knows how to do. He's a wrestler, and it's, he's an entertainer, but you can only get so far on that.
Another one like Mickey this year is Sebastian Stan. He's in 2 films, A Different Man, where it's a guy who has a disease and is, trying to be cast in something. And then he plays Donald Trump in The Apprentice. And there's a big kind of movement to get him nominated. I don't know why, but it's a small, both of them are small films. He could be one of the ones in that mix. So The Brutalist is now starting to hit the radar. And this is one with Adrien Brody. The interesting thing about that, it was made for next to nothing. And it's like 3 hours long, but it's all on the screen. And so that's one that we'll hear a lot about in the next few weeks, because it is one of the bigger ones that are talking about. Angelina Jolie is in a biography of Maria Callas, and she's getting a little kind of traction, but I don't. And did I talk to you about September 5th? I love September 5th.
No.
It's about the Munich Olympics. And it's all told from ABC's standpoint. It's like they're in the control room, and you're not seeing any Olympic things, but it was the terrorist attacks in 1972.
Okay.
And you see how very difficult it was for the media to cover this, just because of technical non-advancements. And they have to, like, in order to get a shot of where the hostages are being kept, they have to roll a huge camera outdoors, and then hope that they can get something when they aim the camera at this balcony. But it's fascinating how it's all done. And what you realize most about that is that journalism has changed. Television journalism is more about, if we don't have a second source to verify this, well, we'll just go with it. And back then they were very insistent that, no, we can't say that this happened or this is okay. We need a second source. You need to find this. And how they work the telephones, and they hold a phone up to somebody who's trying to translate for them because they're seeing people talk. It's marvelous. Now, maybe that's just the old journalist in me that enjoys all of this.
Yeah.
But it's a great way to tell a story, and a story that we already know the answer to. We know how it ended, but it's fascinating to show people at work. And I think September 5 is going to be a big film by the end of the year.
That sounds good.
And then we've got one called Honora. And Honora, or Annie as she likes to be called, is a stripper / sex worker / whatever in New York. And she works at this little club, and this young man comes in, is interested in her. And because she can speak Russian, she is paired with him. And he is just enamored with her and says, well, come home with me. And he has this huge house that has everything in it. Well, she realizes this guy's got some money and he wants to be with her all the time. And so she agrees, and they end up getting married. There's a wedding that's involved, which makes his parents furious. So they rush over from Russia, and they want to break this up right away. Well, the star of the film, the one who plays Honora, is Mikey Madison, and she was on Better Things. If you happen to see Better Things, Pamela Anderson's series was on FX. She played one of the daughters. And she really dug in to get the vibe that was going for this character. But I got a chance to talk with her about it. And I had, I got questions. I got to find out about this. So if you will, let's listen to the interview with Mikey Madison. Mikey, tell me, what is this time like for you? There's so much attention on you on the movie, the whole thing. Is it unnerving? I mean, how would you describe this period?
It's interesting. I feel like I'm in sort of a place of transition right now, but I don't know. I'm just processing everything. I'm in a very privileged position, and I'm so lucky to be able to do the work that I do because it's my dream.
Well, when you read the script, did you think this is going to be something pretty big? This is going to blow up?
I don't think that that's something that I really think about when I'm choosing a role. I fell in love with Sean as a director and Sammy Kwan and the idea of working with them. And so I really had no expectations. I just wanted to do as good a job as I possibly could at playing this character. And I had so much fun making the film, and it was a beautiful experience for me. So everything that has happened after the film has been released has been a pleasant surprise.
When you thought about doing the accent, where did you go to get help with that? Do you have friends who are from there or what?
I worked with a wonderful dialect coach, Nike Douglas, and then from there I felt, I still want to evolve it a bit more. I want to go a little deeper with this, specify certain aspects of it. And so I went to New York and I lived there for about a month before shooting started. And I was able to immerse myself in the community. I was able to fine tune the accent, go to clubs, listen and listen and sort of pull from other places to add into the character's vocality and get it to a place where I felt happy with it and like it was just coming from me very naturally.
What did you think of her? Did you like her when you read her, or did you think, wow, this is a tough character?
I did like her. I loved her. I fell in love with her as a character. And I think for me, one of the biggest things is when I'm playing a character, I have to, at least for me, I have to fully empathize with them. And I have to be like their number one supporter. I'm just the vessel for this character. And so I feel that I need to sympathize, understand, and love them. And I'm really only thinking about things in life from her perspective once I'm playing the character.
Do you think she loved Vanya or not? Do you think there was some love there, or do you think she was using him just as much as he might have been using her?
I think that she was in love with the idea of being married to him. I think that she saw love as a possibility of something that could happen for her. I think she fell in love with his lifestyle, this incredible life that he lives and that he's welcomed her into. And so, of course, she'd fall in love with that. It's not uncommon as well for women to meet their husbands at work like that.
Sure. Did you know any Russian or not?
Nope, I learned it just for the film.
Okay, so then when you're dealing with Mark, did you suddenly have some kind of a, like, I got to learn some words, help me out? What was that relationship like?
No, I was very selfish and made him speak English with me.
No, you're going to speak English. Come on, let's hear it, right?
We had people who were able to translate on set, and we were able to communicate in lots of different ways. Even at first, when he learned English starting in whatever Russian version of middle school is, and so he's been studying English for a long time and speaks really good English, and so we were able to communicate well. And even if it was difficult at times, we would just laugh together.
When you have those very, very intimate scenes, was that difficult to do? Did you say, okay, now wait a minute here, what are we going to do about this?
No, because we had a trust and understanding with each other. We spent a lot of time talking about it. And the thing about any of those intimate scenes is that they're funny. They're not serious. They're innocent in a way because there's nothing threatening about it. It's not romantic necessarily. They're just kind of like kids in that scene. Sure. He's clearly a kid. And so to me, filming those scenes was a positive experience because it was so streamlined working with Sean and working with Sammy on the choreography of those scenes that we were able to just do it really quickly and sort of provoke this fun, light energy in those scenes that I think makes them work so well.
Can I ask one more? Your parents are psychologists, right?
Yes, sir.
What did they think about the character? Did they analyze her for you and say, "Oh, wow"?
They probably did. My mom, not so much. I think she's more internal, more stoic. But my dad is quite emotional, and so he had lots to say after he saw the film for the first time. And I saw him chatting up Sean for maybe 15 minutes, and I'm like, oh gosh, what are... it's interesting to have psychologists as parents. I get to understand character on a deeper level. So I'm grateful for that just as an actress.
Well, I hope he said, congratulations. This is a great job. And I'm so proud of you because I think that resonates a lot in the show. So thank you so much and great good luck with this.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Bruce, thank you for that interview. Sounds like an interesting movie. A lot of fun, smaller releases. So nice to hear about these.
I think Mikey will be nominated for Best Actress.
Okay.
She already has been one that's been kind of leading the pack in a number of early predictions. And I think you'll see her on there. I think the movie could be, Sean Baker is a good director. And I think we could see him figuring in the mix. But this year is not Spielberg or Scorsese or any of those kind of names.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be ones that you haven't heard of. And one of the ones I just really, really loved was Nickel Boys. The reason I liked it is because it's very different in terms of the way it's shot. It is not done you and me talking and we might be in the same scene where you'll be on one side and I'd be on the other. It's all front on, face on, so that it's like the camera is talking to the character.
Oh.
This is from Ramel Ross, who is a teacher. He teaches cinema. He's just trying some of the ideas that he talks to his students about.
Okay.
And he did not tell his actors that this is what he was going to do. But we'll talk about that next week because I do have Ramel and I do have 3 of the big actors that figure into it that we can hear from, and they tell how they actually did all of the process.
Oh, there you go. That's fun. That's another one that I just didn't have on my radar. I mean, I knew about it only because you sent me the audio clip. So, we've got the interview with Ramel that we'll pull together for next week when we record again. But yeah, there's a lot of good opportunities out here to see some movies that aren't the big ones. They're not Wicked. They're not Gladiator II or Moana or
what's interesting is this is the time of year because I vote in some critics end of the year polls and things. They will send you things, and they have all created like coffee table books for their movie. Like, oh my God, it's a book, so it's got to be better. Or they'll put the screenplay in, some binding that you go, wow, I hate to throw this because it could be, something. But really, and like I would sit and read the screenplay. No way. I did one year. I looked at the screenplays for things and I noticed how many typos and misspellings there were. And that got me to not want to read screenplays after I've seen the movie. It's just
probably
a weird thing. And then they'll send a lot of music too. They're pushing a Miley Cyrus song.
Okay.
We had her on many, many years ago, Diane Warren, who has always been nominated but never seems to win. And every year she's got some song, and she's got a song this year. And every year Diane Warren sends autographed sheet music. Now, because I got a piano this year, I'm a lot more interested in Diane Warren's output. So if you hear me playing these songs, you'll know that Diane Warren is the one who fueled his energy to play the piano. But yeah, so that's the kind of things they're trying to do to get your attention. They are limited. They can't overtly like pay you under the table for their film. So they have some way of calling attention.
Right. They're just trying to point out that, hey, we had a movie. You might have forgotten about it. So here's a little trinket just to help jar your memory. I just had a brilliant idea with Diane Warren, by the way. Instead of sending you sheet music, she should send you, like a CD or a record and call it Second Best, the music that didn't win. And it would be a compilation of or call it Runner Up, right? It's
right.
Because it's always one, like the Beatles won or the Elvis won. It's all the number one hits. These are the greatest songs to never win an Oscar.
The number twos.
Number twos. Runner Up from Diane Warren.
She comes through every year. She's nominated, and they are great songs. You just think, why did that one not win that year? And then you realize, well, because it was an iconic song that beat her out.
Yeah. I mean, the problem that she has is that she's got, and this is a good problem to have because she keeps on getting nominated. I mean, like to be nominated for an Oscar or Grammy or an Emmy is an amazing feat. But obviously, you're going up against 4 or 5 or 6 other performances. And the music that she's doing is important to the films, but it's not something that you're going to be like, that is the most memorable song of the year from a movie. It's just a great song from a movie.
And the other thing that she has that isn't in her favor is that she sometimes gets people that you don't know to sing the song. Now, if
Right.
Adele is singing the song, that raises the portfolio a little bit more. Or if Lady Gaga has written a song for her movie and she's singing it, geez, no brainer.
Right. So really what Diane Warren needs to do is write a song, and she needs to write it for, like
Beyonce.
like 3 people to sing it. Bring in Billie Eilish,
Beyonce.
Lady Gaga, Beyonce, absolutely.
And Celine Dion in a special performance.
Right. Oh my goodness. We just won Diane Warren an Oscar with that.
Here's your Oscar, honey. We're giving it to you.
There you go. Well, on that note, thank you again for listening, and we'll be back next week with another episode of Streamed and Screened.